welcome to RCR's In the Room with, our new video interview series talking to entertainment professionals about their careers and what they've learned along the way to get in the room. I'm Stephanie Pichet, editor and publisher of RCR News Media. Today, we're speaking with award-winning actor, EcoWarrior, and amazing talent, Rachelle Carson-Begley. Thanks for joining us today, Rachelle.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
asking.
Let's dive in. Let's tell us a little bit about how you got the acting bug to start out with.
Well, we have to go back to a very long time ago. I was 4, okay? So, um, no one in my family was an artist. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. They were engineers, they were scientists, they were not artists.
Hmm.
And I just knew at 4 years old, I'm like, I think I heard the Beatles playing I Want to Hold Your Hand. And I said that, I don't know why I said I wanted to be an actress. I should have been a musician, but I started acting in like kindergarten,
Oh,
it's in school. I mean, it
right.
wasn't a lot of professional
Sure.
acting in Georgia. And then I went to a performing arts school when I got older, and I knew I had finish my high school in England, and I wanted to stay in England. Theater was what I wanted.
Mm.
And but you know, being in England and being an American, they were like, and I had a Southern accent at the time too.
Oh, oh,
I
interesting.
don't think so. But then I ended quickly moved to New York City and went to acting school, and stayed in New York for 6 years and did theater, and then came out to LA on a 2-week vacation because my boyfriend at the time was doing a national tour of a play, which was going back to Broadway. It was the Brighton Beach Memoirs, the Biloxi Blues, Neil Simon
Oh,
trilogy.
okay.
So he
Right.
went back to New York and I stayed. I wasn't planning on staying, but I just kept getting more interest here. I guess maybe my look is more film. I don't know. I wanted to do theater. But, also at that time, theater was sort of not that it was dying out. You either had to sing, dance, and act to do Broadway.
Right.
Straight theater was, you had to go to you had to go to the regionals. And so I just got more attention here and I stayed.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And we're happy that you stayed.
And
Speaking of, the last I saw you was last February, right after or right before the Oscars at a party before moving here to Albuquerque. And one of the things that we found here in Albuquerque, there's a lot of, we have a lot of crew for production. We have a lot of background. We don't have a lot of above the line actors and, producers and directors and that. And so
that's
one of,
shocking.
yeah, I know.
It's
Well,
beautiful. I
what's
don't know why they wouldn't be there.
I think what's happened is they come here, they love it, or they grew up and come here. And some have moved here, but we
Mhm.
don't have a lot of that level of talent. So I know you've worked in Albuquerque or in New Mexico, and you have your representation here. Tell
Mhm.
us about, what are the things that you're doing to um, audition and in COVID times? I mean, because it's been crazy this past year.
Crazy. It's crazy and it's been a blessing. The
Mm.
blessing is that I can Zoom and that's what's happening. So I can meet people all over the country.
Mhm.
Before COVID, we would put it on tape and send it. But Zoom has allowed us to interact, and that's more casting people and more. I mean, the movie I just shot in New Mexico, I unfortunately I got the time wrong and I was late because I was thinking LA time. But I was talking directly to the director. There were actually 2 directors on this directly, in the
Mm.
room, which was great. Whereas before, we would send our tapes off and you would see it and you wouldn't have any interaction. I've always cast more. Me personally, I've always gotten more jobs when I've been able to interact.
Mm.
I'm a
Mhm.
live human being, who they can see that I'm, maybe not insane. And,
Right.
it's an advantage. So I think this Zoom thing that we're doing here is here to stay on some level.
Mhm. Mhm.
But what was the
Oh,
question?
no. Yeah, no, no. So when you're, being cast or do you hear about them in the trades that you're interested in? Does your representation talk to you and say, "Hey, I have something for you"? Because I know you have a little circle of friends that, maybe whispering about projects to you.
Well,
Uh,
mostly my husband. So whatever whatever script comes into our house, I'm like, give it to me. Let me see it. If it, and I try that way. Obviously, friends will tell me things. And I have to say, 80% of the time I get jobs from people who already know me because I've
Mhm.
been around a little while. But or someone refers me or something. However, having more people representing me better. So that's
Right.
when my husband was in Albuquerque shooting Better Call Saul. He just happened to be working with this young lady, and he was talking about me, which is so rare. And but he was saying to her something about, oh, my wife's an actress, and yet and I have representation in Georgia because I'm from Atlanta, so that's easy for me to do that. Go home and visit family and stay. But she said, oh, well, she should meet my agent. And then I was like, New Mexico, really? Weird. Okay. All right. And I knew they did Better Call Saul there. I didn't realize the amount of shooting that was happening in New Mexico. And so I met this lovely lady, Tina Presley, who I love, who I just think's a doll.
Mhm.
And we just started doing it. She goes, I don't know, I'll try, being in LA. But it's not that far. It's a lot closer than Atlanta or New York. So
Right. Right. It's an hour and a half flight
yeah.
to LA. So yeah, that makes it, just kind of like a shuttle. So you could, come in and out when
Yeah.
things get back to normal and we can fly normally.
I know. But a lot of my friends have moved either to Santa Fe, mostly to Santa Fe.
Mhm.
And my friend Pam Greer, who Pam Greer
Right.
is. Yeah,
Yes.
she just moved there. I don't know if I
Uh
should say that, but she did.
oh,
And so,
stalker.
yeah. But a lot of people live in Santa Fe. It's not like, there's a lot
Right.
of famous people in Santa Fe.
Mhm.
But yeah, people are moving there because it's a lovely place to live. It's beautiful. It's clean.
Affordable.
Affordable, still affordable. I think probably that will probably be changing, but
I
none.
hope not too
Yeah, I
soon,
know
but
any
yeah.
more affordable than Los Angeles.
Oh,
And
way more.
yeah, yeah,
Right. Yeah. It's like night and day
yeah.
um,
It is.
for
A lot.
affordability, but
Yeah,
opportunity is a little bit different because you have to just work a little harder um, to be in a place where people are referring work to you like you are. I
yeah.
think that's one of the things that up and coming actors and in any market outside of, let's say, LA or New York, even in LA or New York, you need to do that networking, you need to do the work.
Absolutely. Well, it comes from also, I mean, unless the material is really bad and I don't want to be in it, I usually say yes, even if it's a favor for a friend for free, because
Mhm.
you just never know who you're going to meet and who that person is going to be or where that show is going to end up. You
Right.
just never know. So I think work begets work, you
Right.
know.
No, that's a good point, because I think a lot of times, in fact, I was talking to Kim Estes, who's an Emmy winner, who
Mhm.
said, after getting the trophy, people hesitated asking him to help because they thought they couldn't afford him.
Right.
And he's done a lot of, I'll do it because I know you don't have money, but it's a good project and I want to participate. And that's something I think that people have been afraid of asking, okay, so they say no. It's not like they're going to cut your hands off.
Yeah, and I doubt, I mean, usually if you get to the talent, if they bypass the agent, say the agent or so, if they don't want them, there's no money. And
Right.
what's the incentive? Usually a good agent will say, no, no, you should do this. This is good material. They'll look at the bigger picture.
Right. Especially if it's good and look at where it can go. I mean, if it's a short film and it's going to go on a film or film festival circuit or these different things, they've picked up shorts for features,
Mhm.
so it's absolutely good to hear that that is something that you and other actors are open to doing.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the eco side of you. We haven't mentioned your husband by name, but because you stand on your own,
Yeah.
especially as someone who, um, leads the way in caring about our planet.
Right.
Um, so tell us about some of the things that you've done or you're doing.
Well, first we were just, I just tagged along with him to environmental events. That's really the beginning of my environmental education, although I was named after Rachel Carson, who we consider the mother of the environmental movement she
Mm.
wrote about DDT, and she wrote this great novel called Silent Spring. And so my dad named me after her. It was ironic, but I didn't really have much more and not that I wasn't interested. I just thought there were more pressing issues until I met Ed. I really got an education. And then we lived, and then, we eventually lived together, and I lived in this little small house in San Fernando Valley that he had retrofitted, with solar panels and all that. I'm like, this is nice, but it's not my idea of, this is not luxury. It was like, I couldn't dry my hair at certain times, or the electricity would go off because it was all solar, and I'd have to go out to the garage and turn it back on. I mean, it was like, but it was funny. It was funny enough to where someone came to us and said, well, we really like to create a show about this. This is actually quite funny and entertaining and educational. So we did that, for HGTV like 12 years ago,
Right.
did it for 2 years. And then they were like, what? Who? They are not really our brand. I don't They were like, and then we did it again for Discovery, which was Planet Green, called Planet Green at the time.
Mhm.
That folded. Planet Green went down the tubes because people just didn't get it. And I wish, I can only imagine what the education would be, or if people continued to be educated in the environmental situation that we find ourselves in today. I mean, we are rolling back a lot of the problems that happened in the last 4 years, because we got out of the Paris Accord and all of these things that people don't get it, but we really have big issues. And, if it's not hitting you, you don't think it's quite, you don't think it's because it's warming like you today in New Mexico, it's 30 degrees. And that doesn't look like climate, global
Right.
warming. Global warming is global climate change. We just had a major, tornado in Alabama at a
Right.
time of the year that there are no tornadoes. So this is what it means. We have torrential rains in LA when, we have these huge fires because it's never been hotter in, the hottest year on record. So that's what we have to worry about. But anyway, cut to, I did this series. I loved it. I loved infotainment. I mean, the reality space has gotten to, listen,
Right.
Kardashians made a lot of money.
Mhm.
They did a lot of interesting things, I guess, for pop culture.
Right.
But I always said, if I had 2 more daughters and maybe I could exploit them and be the green Kardashian. Didn't have that. I only had one. So, but since we did another season, that network went down, and ever since then I've really I've done 2 web shows about, but out of doing that show,
Mhm.
we realized we have to live in a bigger house. We had, my daughter was a child. Now she's becoming a young adult. We had 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1.5 baths. My husband even moved into the garage because it got too small. So I said, we need to all live under the same roof. So we embarked on building our this green LED, this LEED platinum home that we're in now in Studio City. It's gorgeous. I did do not a podcast, but a web show about it, about the taking down of the old house and the
Right.
pre-building of this one. And right now I'm in, and I've got a sizzle out there. It's, Netflix and a bunch of other places that is about the environment. It's about the environment, and it happens to be about the environment in Hollywood and celebrities. And you know what? People love celebrities. I don't care what gets you in the tent, bring them
Right.
on, but here's the message,
Right.
and showing there's a lot of things we can do. We just can't wait for it to all to where we can't, breathe, or every week there's a major fire or a major flood or something. So
Right. No, that's definitely something we need to not only understand but take action on. I mean, a lot of people, look at and try to be green, but they don't really get into what are ways you can do and start at your home.
yeah, they don't really know. I mean, that's the thing, or that's too hard, or they think it's too hard, or whatever. And so I've always been about infotainment. I think infotainment is a very powerful medium if it's
Hmm.
done right, if it's done responsibly. And then you got it at the end of the day, if you're on television or on computer or wherever, you got to be entertaining. It's got to have an entertainment element.
Right, right. And who doesn't like to watch Ed ride a bicycle to generate energy?
Exactly. Work, work more. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I loved watching that series. In fact, I'd been at your home before you guys redid it. And so, even then, you had a lot of innovative things
Mhm.
at that house. And then in redoing your house, basically taking it down and putting it, a new
But we
house up.
actually just moved to a different area. It's close by, but
Oh, okay.
we had there was another house here, but we tried to do a remodel on it and it was
Oh, okay.
good thing we didn't because when we opened it up, that's a whole nother education. I mean, they had hazmat suits on. They found lead. It was from the
That's
40s. So they
right.
found lead. They found all these black mold. They found all
Mm.
these toxins. And it's really great thing that we didn't try to refurbish that because we might be sick today.
Right, right.
You
But
know,
also being able to recognize that. I mean, I know that we are kind of consuming now for reality real estate shows,
Mhm.
that those flipping shows and making, and that's all really great, but I don't see a lot of the innovation in making it an eco-friendly home and having it let you be sustainable and maybe even get off the electric grid and that type of thing. I'm
Yeah,
disappointed at that,
it is
last.
disappointing. It really is. I mean, I was just got some information back from HGTV, not to name names, and they were like, "Well, green's like taking your medicine." I'm thinking, not the way we do it. I think it's quite funny, but it's not like you pick your low hanging fruit. You do what you can. One thing about flipping houses is that if you're not addressing if you have an old house 40s or it's full of lead, it's full of all these things that you don't want to just seal it up and live with it. You really want to clean it up because we live in our houses 80% of the day, maybe 100% these days.
Right.
um, and we're breathing this air. For instance, we just ordered, since I was here, I was like, Ed, now that we're watching television 24/7, we need new recliners, these for the TV room. So I ordered two recliners. I went on, I thought I did but I didn't go eco. I thought, well, I don't know, they make them, they're so expensive. And so I ordered them. Oh my God, I ordered them from Amazon. They were on Amazon. I was like, okay, all right. Well, they were cheap, but they were decorative. I got them. They came in
Mhm.
a box. Well, let me tell you, you get what you pay for. We've had to put those things outside because they are so off-gassing. The smell is so
Right.
toxic. My husband was sleeping and he woke up with a headache. He said, "Oh my God, these things are killing me." Our furniture, we don't think about this, but a lot of us are dealing with real, especially right now. You don't want anything to input
Mhm.
to lower your immune system. We want really robust immune systems. And
Right.
we really never, one doesn't think about the toxins that we're exposed to on a daily basis just from our home.
Right, right. I have one website that I follow, Mamavation, and she used to be a mom TV show back
Oh,
whenever we
cool.
did that. They do investigations on everything. So
Oh,
she did a Christmas tree investigation. And of course, it came out right after I got my fake Christmas tree.
oh, wow.
And she's like, well, that brand is okay, but you should let it air out for at least a week before you put it in your house.
I had no, see, this is why we learned it. This is amazing.
Yeah. Oh
This is-
yeah, everything from different, underwear that they're saying are good for women now, and I mean just anything, kids vitamins.
Yeah,
They do a deep dive on what
fantastic.
that is and give you what's the best, like probiotics and all these different things
What's
that
it
we're not looking at.
called?
I'm sorry.
Mom, what?
Mamavation, Mavation.
Yeah.
And she's in Southern California.
Uh-huh.
But this is, I mean, let's just say she's well known for being a big mouth about things that'll poison your family.
Well, that's
And
what it takes.
yeah, yeah.
God
And
bless you for doing the work because it takes a lot of work. And so that's what I want us to be before it's too late. I have this beautiful 21-year-old daughter who's living down the hall, to be the people that have vetted and just to impart our information. I mean, it took 5 years to build this house and I have to say, we did a lot of things wrong.
Mhm.
So all that is information. I did a lot of things right. And I
Mhm.
can tell you what I did wrong and what I did right, but it was well worth it. And that's just, I want to, have that as a giving back, but also it's just I wish I had had that information when I was building.
Right, right. And that's a that's a type of thing. I think it's kind of funny when we moved into the house that we lived in LA, but just put in bamboo floors. And one of the things you said to me, those are kind of soft. I remember you telling me that. And I'm telling you the whole time, I'm like, damn, why didn't I know that before? I mean, just the simple things. And sometimes we think, oh, that sounds, good without doing the extra research, without clicking that link to see how toxic something is.
Well, bamboo was a good idea, and some of it was hard. Yeah, but it turned out that it wasn't as hard as, as oak or whatever. And
Right,
so you want to live in it and you don't want to replace it in 5 years.
right.
Um, you know,
Yeah,
but yeah, so live and learn.
we did.
Yeah.
I still hear still hear you saying that to me in my head. I'm like,
Yeah, no, that's not what you want to hear after
but
the
right, but that's all part of, the learning about things. And then what you guys have done in your shows that were, environmentally focused, were not only entertained with, different things that were happening in your house. I think one of the things I remember was the outside pizza oven thing at your old house.
yes,
I mean, this is,
the
go
sun.
ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why we don't have that anymore, but it would be funny to bring it back. It's somewhere in the basement.
Oh, I'm sure there's other things that you can find that
Yeah.
will be entertaining, but that's definitely a show that I'm going to tell HGTV that we need.
Yeah,
And because the other ones are just, I don't want to say unrealistic, but the average person really should focus on what's healthy in my house. How can I get the unhealthy stuff out and then
yeah.
make it pretty?
I mean, it's not a hyperbole to say that we are all living with more chronic illness today, more
Mhm,
autoimmune issues, there is just more of that. That's not
mhm.
like people say, oh, well, there's more people on the planet, they're living longer. Nah, they're living longer, but they're living better. And I do believe have been exposed to in the 20th, 21st century more toxins than they ever thought, ever had before. And we are living the consequences of it,
Right.
with a rheumatoid arthritis or whatever autoimmune issue it is. But and that's something that we can change. We can't change everything, but these kinds of things we have some power over. It's very powerless to feel very powerless when I think, oh my God, the planet is warming and we have we've already surpassed the number. And oh, for God's sake, let me go back and watch television. And that is how I've even thought. But
Mhm.
now it's like, no, we have the administration now who's dedicated and talking about it. We all can get informed. And you know what? I don't know about in New Mexico, but there are a lot of electric cars happening around here. I'm very
Mm,
pleased. Well,
mhm.
God, I hate going to the gas station. I just hate it.
Well, there's that. We don't pay the same amount for
Yeah.
gas here than you do. But yeah, no, it's, definitely there's a lot of homes that have solar. In fact, I can look out
Yeah.
where I live and I can see, driving up my street, more and more people here are, definitely looking at solar as an alternative, method of powering their house, especially when you have to have air conditioning on
Yeah.
for the summer because it's so hot.
And there will be government incentives. That's what's going to
Mhm.
happen. And I think it's just a matter of now we're just getting focused. We've had a few things to think about, like
Just a
the last
few.
9 months survival,
Right.
but we've had a lot of time to think. So, you know,
Yeah, for sure. So tell me, on the projects you've worked on recently in COVID, how has that been? As far as preparing, being safe, are you, concerned on set, or do you feel comfortable because they have good policies in place?
well, for one thing, you have to, I mean, before you ever get to the set, you're tested.
Right.
So, um, uh, I had to, my first job I did in COVID, I flew to Reno and I thought I was like getting into a plutonium bath. It was like getting on that airplane. I was terrified, but I had tested, everyone was masked and, and they seemed to be really on top of it, the airplane.
Mm.
And then, Reno was a little, it's Nevada. They're not California, Southern California. So they were a little more lax, but I was tested before. When I got to the set, I got tested again. Every day I was on the set, I was tested. So because of that, I felt more comfortable. Although I didn't, they want you, they have people on the sets going, put your mask on, so they monitor. There's a person that's hired, or several people is hired
Right.
to just monitor that. So that was the first time. And then, I got over it, and then I flew. So I broken the ice, and then I got that other job in New Mexico, and they were really on top of it in New Mexico.
Mhm.
I was very impressed. We were tested. I tested like 3 times before I ever got to the set.
Oh, wow. And that was for Land of Dreams?
Yes. Land.
Okay. And the other one was Dear Christmas, which was a lovely movie. And it was, as I was watching it, because I knew you were shooting that during COVID, to
Mhm.
see not a lot of people, so they were very creative in how the
Yeah.
scenes were, so you didn't have that extra exposure.
No, there were no big, and also with Land of Dreams, there were, I was in the biggest scenes there were, and there was like 6 of us. So
Oh, wow.
there were no extras there. It was all relationships. So they probably are doing these stories that are about relationships versus,
Right.
action. Or,
Right, make it easier so they can shoot it because of the cost of being COVID safe. It's the good and the bad, right? They're
yeah,
protecting you, but there's also limited
sure.
people on set, no background actors, unless
No.
they're absolutely necessary in different scenes. So
Yeah. And then I came back and I did a movie that was about COVID. So it was about a Zoom relationship.
oh, okay.
It was actually very cute. And that one is, I'm sure they're editing it right now, but
Okay.
but of course, we're shooting sort of guerrilla style because it's,
Right.
it's a little more low budget, but it was really cute. And then I have another one lined up, but that one got pushed because of COVID. So that,
Oh.
unfortunately, because we got another major lockdown here,
Uh-huh.
and any smaller budgeted films, they just can't afford it. You know,
Right. Yeah. It's a big cost.
yeah,
And yeah.
big cost. But my husband was on a set, Young Sheldon. He was doing a part a couple months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, and there was someone that he was working with had COVID. Oh yeah, he tested negative the day before. The morning that they were supposed to work, he tested positive. They shut down the whole show. Ed got tested every single day. Every day he was tested. It was a miracle he didn't get it because they were really close in proximity.
Oh boy.
It was really scary, but they handled it. It was they were very responsible.
Hmm. Well, you definitely don't want to be known as the person who shut down the set.
Oh, luckily it was one of the stars, so just
Yay.
happened to go back for Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah,
People,
even
that
though we
can't
had,
happen to me.
yeah, it was there, and at that point there had been a real like, do not travel. It's Thanksgiving. Do not travel.
Mhm.
No,
Mhm.
but it
Yep. It happens, and yep, and
yeah.
that's why people get, yeah, or people point out when, someone yells on set that, they're you're not following the instructions to
No,
stay
no, I
safe.
think that's extremely important
Hmm.
because you are
Oh
going to
yeah.
cost us a lot of money
Right, exactly. Yeah, this
and
is the
someone's health.
business of show. Right.
Yeah,
Well, not only that, but you're not just getting the flu, you don't know what it's going to do to you long term.
right.
And now, like a study out of the UK, they're saying, um, I want to say, I forget whatever the percentage is because I don't want to be incorrect, but a
Yeah,
percentage of the people who have recovered have then within months died.
really.
Yeah, they just were talking about it yesterday. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
So,
I'm the next round to get vaccinated here, so and I've never been a big vaccine person. I'm like, very healthy. I mean, just natural health and all that. But this is one vaccine I'm not gonna not do.
right. And especially if they're going to, you don't know what the travel requirements, because you may have to have your COVID passport to get on a plane.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's very important, that that we're responsible, not just at work, but with our own community, health
Yeah,
wise. Yeah.
exactly.
So, do you have a few tips that you can share with our audience about, some of the successes or some of the things that you've learned that have made it easier for you as an actor?
Okay, here's what comes to mind first and foremost is never think this is your last opportunity. So I remember coming to LA at 24, I think, and and the business at the time, because I was coming out of New York, and they were like, "Oh my God, if you were only 19, you're only 20, you're 24, you're too old." Well, forget that. There is no such thing as you're too old anymore. It's harder, no question. It's harder for women over 30, no question. Just don't take no for an answer. So there's no excuse really. If it's something you really, really want, you will figure out a way. So having said that, I always stay in class. I'm always studying something. I'm studying, maybe it's a Zoom class, how to work on Zoom. I'm in an acting class now. I'm in a musical theater class. Very weird to be in an acting class on Zoom. It is true, but it works. You can do it. It's just, why not? Musical theater. I just highly recommend being as diverse as possible. If you don't sing so good, get better. If you don't dance so well, get better. If you can't ride a horse, try, all the things that are going to make you a bigger commodity. Someone like, oh, I need a 5'9" blonde, older actress who knows how to, jump rope and ride a horse. I have seen that. It was a
Wow.
show last year. Well, she didn't jump rope, but she was a horse trick person. But I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be that. But I know how to ride a horse. You
Right.
know, I don't get much call for westerns. I don't know. Maybe there's something about this.
One
Um,
day.
one day, and but also, there's so many no's. I think creativity is the most important thing to just do. If like when it wasn't happening for me as an actress, I was creating a web show about the environment.
Right.
There's something and now with the access to this thing called an iPhone, you can shoot anywhere. I mean, it's ridiculous. So just stay creative and say yes. Say yes
Mhm.
to projects. Oh, I don't want to do that. There's no money. Oh, it's a student film. Those directors, writers, they go on to do lots of things. You
Right.
So get in yourself. If your medium is film and television, you have to learn it on you. There's no real school for it. You just have to do it. You have to be in front of a camera.
Mhm. Mhm.
The
Well, I
hard.
know at one point, Ed, your Oscar-winning husband, Oscar and Emmy-winning
Well,
husband.
he never won. His dad
Oh,
won an Oscar.
Dad. Oh,
Got the
sorry.
Oscar. Yeah. He was also Emmy winning. He was nominated 6 times and he only won one recently for
Right.
alternative media or something like that. So
But I mean, here's this, you look at his IMDb and you see he did web series. I mean,
yes,
so back,
yeah,
with when that mentality was, oh, I would never do
yeah.
commercials or you don't do daytime. Those are out the window, right?
Out the window. And I've had actors say to me, I mean, I actually said to someone the other day who's got quite a resume, but he hasn't been working for a while. He's very handsome and he play a great cowboy. And I said, well, you need to get to New Mexico. That's where they're shooting, cowboy
Right.
stuff. He goes,
Right.
oh, well, if I have to do that, I just want to quit. And I thought, well, you should quit.
Right.
Just quit because that's not the attitude you can have. I mean, he's like, move on. There's someone else wants that energy, or that opportunity. I was like, that is the beauty of what's going on right now. It is the harder part because what's happening is there's more people to pull from. So it
Right.
is hard to get seen.
Hmm.
And now with, every second, third movie is British people playing American better than we play American. How is that possible? Wait a minute. There's something wrong with this.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that, your statement rings true. If you want it, you have to go after it. When my grandfather was 16 and he saw a Wild West show and wanted to become a cowboy, he ran away. Well, not ran
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
He left New England to come out to New Mexico and Arizona and was shooting cowboy movies with Tom Mix. So it can be done. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like he checked the internet or had an agent or he just went to where he knew that he would find some, his dream, if you will. But I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people um, use excuses for, or let their own fear not necessarily, stop them. You
Yeah.
know,
And yeah, I treat my acting now as a hobby.
Mhm.
It's a hobby. It's a great hobby. It keeps me very involved in life, but it's a hobby. And I do other things. And if I get to act, great. I don't have to, luckily, my living isn't dependent upon it. But I think it's really important to diversify and find things that you do want to do so that you can support your art. Because if you don't have the headshots or the money for it to fix your, to update your reel or whatever, it's not good. So you need to find something that you can make money at and keep
Right.
working.
And have all the tools.
Yeah.
You need those headshots. You need a reel. You need to have something to show what you've done.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done that yet, then make something,
Yeah.
right?
The thing is, there's a big stigma, certainly in LA, not so much in New York, because no one works in New York. It's hard. If you're an
Mhm.
actor, you go, oh, where are you waitressing? It's
Right.
hard to work. But in LA, like, oh, you're an actor, but you're not working. You're not, there's a real stigma that's like, no, I'm an actor. I just don't have it right now. And I'm acting in class, or I'm acting in this little theater down this. I'm always working toward it.
Mhm.
So I think that getting over that, what other people think, is really important.
Mhm.
Art, listen, I always go back to Van Gogh didn't sell a painting. He didn't sell a painting. So should we not, is that not art? That's amazing art. It's,
Right.
probably the highest paid art in the world. You
Mhm.
have to do it
Right.
because your whole
Oh,
soul has to do it.
exactly. Exactly. And if even doing it means that you're just reading scripts to yourself and recording yourself to watch it back, or, maybe getting someone to be, your reading partner so they can help you. I mean, there's a way to find the way to get to what your dream is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and, I've learned a lot during this time too. I got pretty lazy for a while and didn't want to memorize scripts. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I found a way to put it on the computer, and I'd work on it, but then it would be up there. So I didn't have to memorize it. And then one day it didn't work out. And this was someone in New Mexico, and I had worked on it, but I hadn't memorized it to the best of my ability. I mean, it was short notice and it was a lot of text, and I had to do a live audition with someone, and I wasn't off book. And that was really embarrassing.
Mm.
So like, I'm reevaluating doing, I'm just, so you go, oh, oops, that didn't work out so well. So be as prepared. My bottom line is be as prepared as possible, because those opportunities don't come by that often.
Mhm.
So, you
Mhm.
know,
No, I appreciate that, because um in looking at how different people approach it, or seeing what people say, because I'm on social media a lot. It
mhm.
is disheartening whenever they let something little stop them,
Yeah.
and then you want to smack them and say, wait a minute, you're in control of that. That obstacle is, you can just leap over that in a second.
It's just all ego, or what, self-doubt, or listening to people. No one knows anything. None of us can predict what's the next or anything. None of us know. So, I just say, if this is what you want, you go for it. You do the best you can. Hey, listen, you might see me again in 2 months, and I might have cut my hair off and I was black hair, and now I'm not blonde anymore. And hey, I'll try that. Hey, that might be this,
No, don't, no.
be flexible.
Right. Try a wig first
Yeah,
before.
exactly. I'm a little
Uh,
attached to my blonde hair at this old age.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time and chatting with us today. It's really refreshing to, speak to you, and also, I do hope, crossing fingers, that you are able to get a show with Netflix or
Me,
whomever for,
please.
yeah, that would be amazing. And I do see them doing more of that type of thing. Zac Efron has
Right.
a series on where he's traveling totally, and it's amazing. Here's a young man who didn't really understand how how fruit happens, or plants, or any of these things, the ecosystem around, and how different people are living off the land and all these things. So he's discovered the beauty of our planet,
Yeah.
rather than just, I don't want to say he ever ate fast food, because, that's not
Mhm.
really him, but, he learned a lot by going back to nature and having that. So I think, that's definitely more of what we need.
I think so. I think it's gonna also just, you think of this whole global spiritual element to it. It's a healing, you know.
Mhm.
So I just, that's what interests me, you know. I mean, I love to just escape and watch something beautiful, you know, something on television is well written. But then again, I love to watch something that I can actually learn from, especially in this time. You
Right.
know, I have a lot of hours and I watch a lot of television.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are. So now if we can, have a certain segment of that time be something that's
Yes,
educational or
yes,
informational,
yes,
we'll all be better off.
yeah,
So, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you. And I
pleasure
hope
with
to see
you.
you here shooting again soon.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hope so too. Thanks. I think it's been great.
Okay, Rochelle. Thank you so much.